Hey, over the years, many of you have asked me, Jim, why did you become a pastor and how did you become a pastor? And I've told parts of that story over the years, but I want to share with you a couple of elements of that story that I haven't shared before. So during my college years, I started a Bible study in my fraternity, and before long, God brought 25% of that fraternity to be in that Bible study. Then we went into a fraternity, started Bible studies in 4 different fraternities, and it was amazing to watch God change wild fraternity guys' lives through Jesus Christ. And it was in the midst of doing that, I didn't hear an audible voice, but in my soul, I heard God say, "This is what I want you to do for the rest of your life." And I said, "Sign me up." It took me about 6 months to get the courage to tell anyone. And the first person I told was the girl I was dating, Lisa, who would later become my wife. It took me a year to get up the courage to tell my parents. I'll never forget telling my parents. It was my senior year. It was Christmas break. I didn't have a car, so my parents drove up to College Station to get me and bring me back home for the Christmas break. We're driving in the car down Highway 6, and I decided I'm going to tell them. I'm sitting in the back seat. My heart starts beating really fast. And finally, I just blurted it out. "I think God's calling me to the ministry." They're like, "What'd you say? You talk so fast. I couldn't understand what you were saying." I said, "I think God's calling me into the ministry." And my mom started crying, happy tears. And my chemical engineering father started asking me 1,000 questions. Like, "Son, what are you going to do with that chemical engineering degree you're 6 months away from getting? How are you going to support your family?" He just kept asking me questions. It took my dad about 3 months to get his hands around this, and then he became the greatest fan of me going into the ministry. So that's kind of why. And then how did I become a pastor? Well, I finished my chemical engineering degree, and then I sat down with my home church pastor and told him my story of feeling a call to ministry. He said, "Jim, the first thing you need to do is get training in seminary." And so I decided to go to Asbury Seminary in Kentucky, where there had been 4 revivals over the last decades. And it was a seminary that was strong in Bible. I wanted lots of Bible. And as I was going through seminary, I also went through a 2-year ordination process that included interviews and submitting paperwork and essays and submitting sermons, going through psychological testing, submitting more paperwork, being grilled doctrinally. And then at the very end of that process, I finished seminary and I had my final interview for ordination, and I was finally approved for ordination. And then in a formal ceremony on a Tuesday night, I got ordained.